Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a ridiculously powerful framework from Fred Clements' highly practical book, 30 Coaching Tools and Approaches That Actually Work. We're going to unpack exactly how to navigate the messy, incredibly human side of workplace transitions. Now, we'll be using a tool you might actually already know but probably haven't used to its full potential, the Kübler-Ross Change Curve. If you're a coach, a manager, a leader, or honestly anyone tasked with developing people, this is an absolutely essential deep dive. So let's kick things off with a totally relatable everyday workplace problem. Imagine you've got a team member who is exhibiting some seriously stuck thinking, maybe low trust or just deep frustration during a major company restructure. They seem absolutely determined to dig their heels in and completely refuse to move forward. As a manager or coach, it's so common to feel completely lost on how to help them, right? You try to lay out all the great benefits of the new strategy, and boom, they just shut down. You ask what's wrong and you hit a defensive wall. So, how do you coach someone out of that transition trap without breaking rapport? Let's get into part one. What the tool is. The Kübler-Ross Change Curve. Adapted from John Fisher's incredible work, this curve literally maps out the emotional roller coaster people naturally experience when change is just thrust upon them. It takes that invisible, confusing, and honestly isolating experience of change and makes it visible. It starts over on the left side with the initial shock and denial of a new announcement. People might be thinking, there's no way this is really happening. Or hey, if I just ignore it, maybe it'll go away. From there, it dips down into what we call the messy middle. That's a deep valley of anger, frustration, and pretty low mood or depression. This is exactly where morale drops and conflict spikes. But you know, as time goes on and the right support is provided, you begin to see that upward climb. People slowly move toward bargaining, then they reach a point of genuine acceptance, and eventually they move right into full integration, where this brand new way of working just becomes the norm. Moving right along to part two. Why it matters, the reality of transition. You know, leaders often have a massive blind spot during transitions. When you're communicating change, it's just so tempting to focus purely on the rational view, right? The new reporting structures, the updated targets, project timelines, and all those shiny new systems. But right alongside that, your employees are experiencing a deeply emotional reality. While the leadership team is standing up at the front of the room, talking about efficiency and optimization, the team is sitting there, feeling a profound sense of loss, uncertainty, fear, or frustration. They're probably worried about their own competency in the new system, or even mourning the loss of their old team dynamic. If you only manage that rational side, if you just keep pointing at the timeline and completely ignore the emotional reality, your change initiative won't just struggle. It will almost certainly stall out completely.
Okay, part 3. How to use it in practice. Coaching conversations. So you don't just show someone the curve and leave it at that. You ask them to actively locate themselves on it. This brilliantly externalizes the feeling. You can ask things like, where are you on this curve at the moment? Or where were you when the change was first announced? By asking what emotions are present right now, or simply what do you need at this stage to move just one step forward? You do something incredibly powerful. You help your coachees step back from their immediate overwhelming feelings, look at the map and realize their reaction is actually entirely normal.
It drastically reduces that shame or defensiveness they might feel about struggling. They realize they aren't failing at all. They are simply processing. Next up, part 4. What to watch out for. Key cautions. This quote right here hits the nail on the head. The curve should be used as a map, not a rigid pathway. It is absolutely crucial to remember that humans are not machines, and human change is almost never a neat linear sequence. People can and will move backwards when a frustrating new detail drops. They can move sideways, lingering in a space of uncertainty, or they might even skip stages entirely, depending on their own personal resilience and the specific nature of the change. And that brings us to some vital missteps you absolutely have to avoid. First off, do not use the curve to label people or put them in little boxes. Never use it to force a timeline or mandate acceptance before someone is genuinely ready. And definitely, whatever you do, do not tell people they are stuck in a judgmental way. Hearing a manager say, well, you're just in the anger phase right now, feels incredibly dismissive and patronizing. Crucially, we must avoid using this tool to excuse poorly managed change on leadership's part, or to minimize genuine distress and trauma. Remember, people move backwards just as easily as forwards. This is a tool meant for empathy and understanding, absolutely not for enforcing compliance or grading an employee's emotional state. Alright, part 5, a short practical example. Let's look at how this actually plays out in real life. Imagine you start noticing an employee showing signs of low mood or disillusionment over the span of a few weeks. Maybe they keep saying things like, "I just don't really know where I fit into this new structure anymore." Step 1. Observe those signs quietly and without any judgment. Step 2. In your next one-to-one, physically share the change curve with them. Put it right on the table. Step 3. Simply ask where they feel they currently fit on that map. Literally give them the pen. And step 4. Validate their feelings without forcing any immediate movement. By following these super simple steps, you as a manager validate that being in a low mood stage is a completely normal part of the process. You prove that their feelings are expected, and that creates a genuinely safe space for dialogue instead of defensiveness or denial. Finally, part 6. Resolving the transition trap. When you apply this curve correctly, you make a fundamental shift in your leadership mindset. You literally shift your perspective from asking why on earth are they resisting to asking what do they actually need at this stage. You stop trying to manage their resistance as if it's some sort of disciplinary issue or a performance flaw, and you start actively coaching their needs. You start to recognize that anger might just mean they need more information, or that depression might mean they need a little time to mourn the old way of doing things. This builds incredible empathy and truly empowers the person to find their own way forward when they are actually ready to take that step. Before we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative reflection question to chew on for your own organization. What loss needs to be acknowledged before your team can move forward? Sometimes the absolute key to unlocking the future is simply giving people permission to grieve what they're leaving behind. For more information, head over to clementsconsultancy.com to buy a discounted PDF copy of the book, or head over to Amazon for the ebook or printed version.